Well, welcome to another week at Showreel. My name's Megan, your overly passionate host.
And I'm Yuri, your token Asian. We're going to be taking over from the lovely Bridget and Sandra to bring you everything happening in film, television, and theatre, both locally and globally, for the next 4 weeks.
Not just the host, but our writers, producers, and crew rotate and change every 4 weeks to deliver you the best of the best. In this week's episode, we'll be taking a look at those celebrities that think they can do everything. Bored of your shiny Grammys or your 10-year NBA contract? Why not try your hand at acting? Everyone seems to be jumping on the bandwagon, from Michael Jordan to Madonna.
And later, we'll be reviewing the new comedy film Identity Thief. But before that, we have this week's special guest, a man of many talents, a television industry professional, and full-time comedian, Stephen J. Whiteley.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today, Steve.
Hello. I'm not used to having the word professional associated with me, but thank you. It's very kind.
You're very talented, and I know you're involved in many projects. And I also know that you do you work at 31 Digital,
Yep.
from marketing to producing, and you also do comedy.
Yes.
How did you, first of all, get involved and end up where you are right now?
Ooh, too much spare time on my hands and not enough education. I've been involved in show business since I was about 5 or 6 years old.
Wow.
What were you doing?
Started out acting in theatre.
Cool.
And that was my whole life what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an actor
Yeah.
in the theatre.
Wow.
Unfortunately, when puberty hit and I missed out on that big growth spurt that everyone else gets to go through, it became apparent pretty quickly that I was never going to be tall enough to get romantic leads or anything like that. And so I started looking for options, and then a lot of my mates were getting into bands and they had really hot girlfriends, so I went sweet. So I learnt to play the guitar and joined a band, and we toured Australia for about 3 years.
Wow.
Solid.
Wow.
Just playing.
What was your band called?
We were called Avant Garde.
Oh, cool.
And
That's really avant-garde.
Yeah.
it was at the time. And then, I found myself in Adelaide in the early 90s and didn't have a lot to do. And I wandered into a comedy club one day, and they were looking for a sound and lights technician. And there is no gig easier than a sound guy in a comedy club. It's just like
No
one
offense.
microphone. So I went in there and started hanging out with some guys like Adam Hills and Justin Hamilton and Limo and guys like that. And started hanging out with them after the show, and they were like, "You're as funny as anyone that's working here. You should be on stage." And I was like, "Nah, can't do it." And then finally one day Adam Hills walked up to me and he went, "I've booked you 5 minutes at a comedy club next Thursday."
Awesome.
And I was like, "I don't have 5 minutes." And he goes, "Well, you've got a week." So I went home and wrote my first comedy routine and just loved it. So I've been doing it ever since.
How was your first stand-up gig? Because I hear from comedians it's always very frightening, and the first time it usually sucks, but then you kind of go back to it because.
Yeah, I was lucky. Because the reason that so many people have dramas with their first ever comedy gig is because normally it's the first time that they've spoken
Yeah, right.
in public, and public speaking is actually the number one thing that people fear.
Yeah.
Death is actually second.
Yeah.
So
I
people
hear
would
that.
actually
I know.
rather die
It's crazy.
than have to talk in public, whereas I've always loved it.
Aw.
So because I didn't have that fear of a microphone, and when I was in Avant Garde, I was the front man in Avant Garde,
Sure.
so I was always talking to the crowd and there was always jokes. So it wasn't that nervous for me, and my first gig, I loved it. Had an absolute ball and did really well, and the crowd liked it. And I remember coming off stage and having a guy called Justin Hamilton, who's a fantastic comedian, come up to me and he goes, "Yeah, your second gig's always the hardest."
Yeah, right.
Thanks.
Thanks, yeah.
So
So you're working on something new now with Yuri.
Yeah.
And it's called QTV.
QTV, it is. It's a new TV show here on 31 Digital
Yep.
on Monday nights at 9 o'clock. And it's for the
And Friday nights,
And Friday nights.
9 p.m.
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
That's why you're
That's
here.
what I do.
Yeah, and it's for the gay and lesbian community in
Excellent.
Brisbane and around Australia, dealing with all things lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender,
Yep.
and that. So basically, we didn't have one and I think we need one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So-
On another subject, you're also involved into comedy, and
Yes.
you're also the comedy director for the
am.
upcoming
One of.
Brisbane, one of the comedy directors, but
Yeah.
you're still the best, I assume, of Brisbane Comedy Fringe Festival.
Yeah, the Brisbane Fringe Comedy Festival, that's right, yeah. I'm one of those guys, I'm always taking on new projects, and people
Yeah.
are always approaching me and going, oh, do you want to be a part of this? And someone's like, do you want to help make a comedy festival? And I'm like, well, I've got 20 minutes spare on Thursday. I can probably do it then.
Oh my gosh.
But Brisbane's, I think, with the exception of Darwin, I think Brisbane's the only capital city in Australia that doesn't have a fringe festival at the moment. So we went, what the hell?
Wow.
Let's make one. Here's the thing about fringe is it's a great opportunity for the public to get out and just see so many shows. And that's the object of a fringe festival. Like when you have comedians who come to town, it's easy to just go out and see one show and, you know, go out, have dinner, go and see a show, go home.
Yeah.
Whereas with a fringe festival, it's like go and see 3 shows in a night.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Yeah.
and then go and see a late night show and it's just all comedy all the time. And we've even got some people that want to be showing short films and stuff like that in
Wow.
it. So we've got,
Comedic films, that is.
I don't know, we've just had people going, can we show films? And I'm like,
Yeah.
sure, as long as they're not going to get us in trouble. Then,
Yeah.
you know, like as long as they're not home films.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got musicians and dancers and
Okay.
comedians,
Where
but
can we-
yeah, we just deal with it.
Where can we find more about it?
You can go to Facebook, there's Brisbane Fringe Comedy, on Twitter, at Fringe Comedy, and www.brisbanefringecomedy.com.au.
Yes.
So,
Awesome.
And the festival is happening in...
the first 2 weeks of September, we have our
Excellent.
opening gala in West End on the 31st of August. Yeah, the whole
That's so cool.
Good spot for
everything's like located in West End. So
lovely.
if you own a pub or a club or a cafe or a coffee shop or anything in West End and you want like 2 weeks of just free kick butt entertainment, then hook us up and we'd love to put a show in your venue.
Excellent.
That is so awesome.
It
I'm
is.
looking forward to that.
I'm not planning on sleeping between now and November.
Oh my gosh. Don't know how you do it. Oh wow.
So
Oh.
always had too much energy.
Yeah.
So
So what kind of things does your role as a director mean that you'll be doing?
basically means that I'm responsible for everything. We've been sourcing all the acts, so we're talking to comedians from the UK, from New Zealand, and all around Australia.
So it's like a global thing.
It's
Fun.
definitely,
Wow.
this is the first one, but eventually I want it to be as big as. What we'd eventually like to do is tie it in with, because the 2 biggest festivals in Australia at the moment are the Adelaide Fringe and the Melbourne International. So if we could somehow tie it into that, then we can basically have a year-long circuit of festivals in
Excellent.
Australia.
Cool.
Alrighty.
Well, thanks for talking to us today.
worries, thank
Want
you.
to stick around and talk about new comedy film Identity Thief?
Sure.
Excellent. Stay tuned,
Awesome.
folks.
Hey, hey!
Get down.
Welcome back. Throughout the years, Hollywood has had its fair share of non-actor celebrities getting involved into acting. They have ranged from comedians to athletes as well as musicians.
Today we will look at the best and the worst of celebrities getting into Hollywood and as to whether they deserve to get these positions over aspiring actors. So first of all, do we think that these celebrities from other industries deserve these leading roles in Hollywood over other aspiring actors?
It's a tough one, I reckon, especially because, you know, professional actors, they take years to work their craft. They go through professional training. You know, there's method acting, and
Yep.
they have like all this stuff that they go through. And then there's like some singer who sang one song and is a celebrity and
Yeah.
then goes into acting. Like I could think of a couple examples, like Paris Hilton. Like she's
Yeah,
not
right.
a singer; she's just a celebrity, and she was starring in House of Wax, this terrible
Yeah.
terrible film.
See, that was a comedy.
Yeah, right.
Is that the true essence of comedy?
Oh,
Just-
definitely.
yeah.
I've watched it. I'm a huge horror fan.
Yeah,
And,
have you seen House of Wax?
yeah,
How great is it?
It was awesome. It was fantastic. And
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
He was fantastic. But I've got to say, I don't necessarily agree with everything. There is definitely the school of thought that you can, like classically trained actors that go to NIDA and learn all this different stuff. But then I think there are just people who are just really good actors.
Yeah.
And I think a good example of someone swapping over is Justin Timberlake. I think he's an absolutely
sure.
sensational actor. If you've seen the movie Alpha Dog that he was in, just fantastic. And him, even though it was a particularly terrible movie, but him in The Love Guru with Mike Myers.
Yeah.
He played a fantastic role in that.
Social Network. He had
Social
this,
Network,
he brought this like charisma, and it was awesome.
He's just really, really good.
And a lot of actors are trained musically as well, and vice versa. A lot of musicians are trained actors, so it's a matter of luck, like whichever one they got picked up in first. So
Well, sometimes they actually uncover hidden talent. There was,
Exactly.
I'm going to show my age here. But back in the early 80s, there was a movie called Crossroads. And every time I mention Crossroads now, the younger generation, Britney Spears, and I go, get off my lawn. But no, it was a movie about blues, the blues guitars back in the Deep South. And Ralph Macchio, who was actually famous as the Karate Kid, played this young kid who was a blues aficionado that went and found this old harmonica player that had recorded with an old guitarist called Robert Johnson. Robert Johnson's a real person.
Robert Johnson. I'm a big fan of him.
Of blues music.
So cool.
Now, the guitar playing in it is actually sensational. There's so much good guitaring in it if you're a blues fan. And what I didn't realise until a few years later when the interwebs was invented was that Ralph Macchio actually played a lot of his own guitar. Now, most of the music was a guy called Ry Cooder, who's a fantastic blues guitarist as well. And he was interviewed and he was saying that if Ralph Macchio wanted to apply himself to the guitar, he would have been absolutely sensational because within 3 months he'd managed to pick up classical guitar, blues guitar, electric guitar, the full bit, and just play some sensational sort of stuff.
So in like some successful cases, like musicians going to acting or actors going to music, and then it works out well because they're just, they're just talented, and or either they're really hardworking entertainers.
I wish Britney Spears had been a better actor because then she would stop making music.
And that's and that's the thing. Like some actors or some acting people, you just love to hate them. Like I reckon Paris Hilton was a great casting choice for House of Wax because she dies so well. Like you just want her to die the moment. It's a guilty pleasure. And I reckon they serve their own purpose.
Oh, definitely. It's just, but I mean, there's just so many people that you just sit there and go, why are you famous?
For example, Michael Jordan in the film Space Jam.
But I'll disagree with that because Michael Jordan was actually playing something that he did. He was a basketball player. He was playing himself. Someone like Paris Hilton, I just go, why are you in my world? Like, why do I even know who you are? Like, what have you ever contributed to society?
And she did things like Perfume, and she released one song. And
everything you don't need any talent for whatsoever, she has done.
Well, Will Smith, on contrary, he started off as a rapper, as a musician. A rapper, musician,
dubious.
I don't like a DJ, some musical thing, and then he went to acting, and he's one of the the most paid Hollywood actors right now. He was in I Am Legend, Men in Black, and I think he was Quentin Tarantino's first choice as Django in Django Unchained. So I don't know, like that's pretty cool.
But Will Smith was he was a bit different and a bit interesting because he was I don't think he ever looked at being a serious rapper. It was just a case of he got cast in a TV show called The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And as a gimmick, they got him to actually rap and sing his own intro song. And then some producer somewhere went, oh, he can do it. Let's make money off it when he started to get a bit bigger. And then he did the whole Men in Black thing, and I lost respect for him, and now I like him again.
Did you lose respect?
Anybody that's going to like cash in. See, you got to understand, I'm old. Right, and I grew up with parents who are even older than me. So when you want to talk you want to talk about like multifaceted entertainers, I grew up watching people like Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. And people say to me, like, who's your idol? Sammy Davis Jr. was just amazing because not only did he do everything, but he did it well. And there was one thing that I saw of him years ago. But the thing is, Fred Astaire was a dancer and he was an actor. That was good. Sammy Davis Jr. was a comedian. He was an impressionist. He was a musician. He was a dancer. He was a tap dancer. He was an actor.
Wow.
He did Absolutely, he was an alcoholic. He did everything. And I remember watching this clip that just summed Sammy Davis up, and this is why I love the man so much, and he's always in the back of my mind as someone to aspire to. He got a role in a Western during the mid-50s, and he immediately went out and got these 2 guns and learnt how to gunsling. And he was on like a late-night show, like the Johnny Carson show or something like that, just doing this gunslinging. And he was sensational at it. And he was chucking them from hand to hand and putting them back in. And at the end of doing this like 3-minute gunslinging thing, he just put them back in the holster. And he leaned into the camera and he said something that I've never forgotten. He just leaned into the camera and he said, "Hell, if I wasn't good, I wouldn't have put them on." And that was just his way. If he wasn't going to be the best at something. And that's the thing about nowadays, is that there's just too much opportunity for people to be mediocre.
Yeah,
you know?
if you've got the money, you can just do
That's
whatever
it.
you want.
I mean, look at, who was it? Rebecca Black. That,
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
You know, you can
Classic.
buy success nowadays.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, I'm sounding old. Get off my lawn.
No, but for sure, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
There's just so much opportunity now for people to exceed in mediocrity, you know, and I blame the internet.
Exactly, yeah. Well, excellent. Great. Thanks for talking to us about that.
No worries.
Stay tuned. We're going to be reviewing the new film, Identity Thief.
Bond. James Bond.
Mr. Bond, I suppose you wouldn't care to, raise the limit?
I have no objections.
C'est pas possible, madame, c'est illégal, monsieur.
This week, Yuri and I took a trip to the theatre to watch Bridesmaids star Melissa McCarthy do her thing in the new flick, Identity Thief. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Exceeded the credit limit. I used the card for coffee and gas. Great Beyond Water Sports? Never heard of it. I'm in Colorado. No beaches here. Where's the surf shop? Unbelievable.
Sandy Bigelow Patterson, you missed your court date in Florida.
I've never even been to Florida.
Pull a mugshot.
What the hell is this?
It's the woman who stole your identity. Obviously taking advantage of the fact that you have a female name.
Unisex.
It's pretty girly.
Every day I'm hustling.
Sandy Bigelow. Patterson. I can't believe I'm turning 30. I'm always doing stuff like this.
What do you do now? You go get her?
Oh, no. She'd have to be standing right here to do you any good.
This is crazy. You don't chase criminals.
This is our only option. She's like a hobbit. They're going after Bilbo. Gotcha. And we can do it the hard way or the easy way.
I'd like to pick the easy way.
You like that girl, Sandy? Oh, I love that guitar. I'm gonna sue you.
That was not the easy way.
You steal money from Paolo.
We're going to Denver. You're gonna love it. There's nobody shooting at you there. Hey, come on. I can do this all day.
What are you, Kenyan? Sandy likes to watch.
Oh, no.
Challenge him physically.
I can't let this woman out of my sight. This is awesome.
How about some music?
My milkshake brings all the bucks. There walks 500 miles. Yeah, I can hit that. Now, ooh, Barracuda.
You okay?
So, Yuri, what did you think?
I thought it was adequate. Melissa McCarthy was in that film, as you saw in the trailer. I thought she deserved a spotlight after seeing her in Bridesmaids, which is a great film. You haven't seen it, which I don't even want to talk about that right now. But
My fiance recommended it, and I know her taste in movies, so I'm like, yeah, nah, not watching that.
you should see it. Kristen Wiig, I think she's like spectacular in that. And she wrote it as well. Anyway, she was great, and Melissa McCarthy was great in that because I think she had the most like belly laugh on the spotlight in that film, and I was like, okay, she deserves a spotlight. And I saw her, and I think she was the only great thing about this movie. Other than that, Jason Bateman was so flat, and I reckon he plays like straight guys in every single project he's
sure.
involved in.
It's
Like
always
Arrested
that.
Development, he's always like the sane, straight, kind of boring guy. And then he's always like in Juno, he's also like a really kind of boring guy. So I was like
Mildly happy with life.
exactly,
Just kind of plumbing
and
along.
like kind of interacting with crazy characters. And
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know, I wasn't happy with Jason Bateman. It was 2 hours long, a comedy film 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Like you deserve, you know, I don't know. It was just really terrible. And well, I don't know. What did you think?
Well, look, I am going to agree with you.
Okay.
It was quite painful to sit through. Like, I'm usually, you know, really happy to go to the movies and I like pretty much anything, but this was long. Like, it was just long. I was
Yeah.
sitting there and there was just so many different things happening in the plot that were just so unnecessary, and like, you're just kind of watching and being like, just,
Yeah.
we get it, you know, keep going. And then when the movie finished, like, they didn't finish all these little plot things. Like, they're cut all the time. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
what? How did you just survive that? Like, it was just everywhere. It was all over the place.
And a lot of like fat jokes.
Yeah.
Like
for
we
sure.
get that Melissa McCarthy's fat. Like we don't have to like be reminded every 2 minutes. She's not fat, maybe. I don't know. I think she's a beautiful woman.
She did a really good job as an actress, though. Like, I was so surprised.
Yeah, you were like kind of getting emotional.
I
Like,
know,
with her
yeah,
crying
like,
scene. We
there
don't
was
want to
some
give out
really-
like spoilers, but she was pretty.
She had some
She was
beautiful
pretty.
moments, like,
Yeah.
because we'd never really seen her as an actress before. Like,
Yeah.
in all of her films before, it's just like comedy, and
Yeah.
she just kind of plays herself and does her own thing.
Have you
and-
seen her in the sitcom?
Mike and Molly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you,
I like it. Yeah, it's
You
good.
like it?
I don't get a lot of time to watch
Yeah.
TV or movies or whatever because I'm really busy. But
Mm-hmm.
I think we're really spoiled. I think it's quite ironic. I was sitting here feeling like an old man when you guys were going, it's so long. I'm going, Christ, you should go and watch movies, and we had an intermission.
Yeah.
You can actually go and have a break for 10, 15 minutes and then come back and watch the rest of it.
Why? How long were those movies? Like.
Oh, well, I don't know whether you guys remember. I think one of the longest that I've heard of was a movie made in the 90s, a Kevin Costner film, Dances with Wolves, which was like well over 3 hours long.
Wow.
And he was famous for it. He did a couple. He did one after that called JFK, which was
Yeah.
like
It's
a
a
2.5,
long.
3 hour.
Gary Oldman is so good in that.
So, but yeah, I also think one of the reasons we used to have intermissions was because I grew up in the 80s when there were still smokers, but they'd just started outlawing it. And so they had to let people out for a cigarette, otherwise mothers were going to start killing their children, like mine especially. But yeah, no, so yeah, and nowadays we're kind of really spoiled because, again, back in my day, we didn't sort of really get to pick and choose. We had like 3 TV stations, and
Right.
that was it, you know, and that's what was on. So you kind of had to pick the best. Whereas,
So do you reckon we're spoiled?
definitely,
Do you reckon then, would you, like, if you saw this film, Identity Thief, do you think that you would love it? Like,
I
or
have no
appreciate
idea.
it?
I don't know. From what I saw, it actually looks kind of interesting. It's got like a little bit of everything. It's like
Yeah.
the director just went, I want everything. I want explosions and car scenes
Actually
and,
did,
and
though. There
punching
is-
and
Road trip.
Yeah, it's
Love
like
that.
it was made by an ADD kid that was off his meds. It was just like, yeah, let's blow this up. A monkey.
Definitely, yeah. There's snakes and everything
Yeah.
involved in this
Sweet,
movie.
love snakes.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I'd definitely give it a look.
Yeah.
But as I said, like it's quite difficult for me to find 2 hours to sit down and do stuff. My fiance gets annoyed at me because like we'll sit down to watch something and I immediately have the laptop out in front of me doing like 4 other things at once and
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. So. But no, it looks alright. It looks like my kind of thing. It's,
your
if
kind
you
of
want to talk about painful, just watch anything Jim Carrey's done since Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
Like
Yes, man?
Yes, man. Actually, no. Yes,
no,
man was so good.
It annoyed me. It was just
Why is that?
Because
Did you think it was pretentious? Yeah, okay.
I just there's so many. What I really hate is when a comedian comes out because like there's been a couple of them. Jim Carrey was a stand-up comedian before he got into movies, and Adam Sandler was the same. He was a stand-up comedian and so on and so forth. And they come out and they make like one kick-ass movie.
Yeah.
Like, can I say that? No. Anyway, like, you know, Ace Ventura is one of my favourite films of all time, just
Yeah.
because of the absolute ludicrousness
Yeah, for
of
sure.
it and everything
Jim
like that.
Carrey himself.
And Happy Gilmore is just, like, got to be one of the greatest comedy movies. It was, again, just because of the complete over-the-top ridiculousness of it. And then you go, these guys awesome, and then they bring out something just crap, like, I don't know, Ace Ventura 2. And... And you just sit there because your expectations are so high. But Adam Sandler actually recently
Yeah.
Got some respect back from me for Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah.
Really?
It was an okay film.
It was great. I love it.
For a cartoon, yeah.
Well, you see, I get to watch a lot of cartoons now because I got kids.
For kids and stuff.
You know,
Well,
so.
you know, I don't know. I didn't really like this movie.
Oh yeah, sure.
No,
Back to yours.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
I like totally just like cut you off right there.
No, it's all good. That's what you're supposed to do.
time.
You're the host.
Yeah, that's what hosts need to do. You know. smash the time. Anyway, out of 5 stars, Megan, what would
Would
you
I
give
rate
it?
it?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go with a 2.
Out of 2.
Yeah,
Oh,
low.
harsh. Probably, I'd give it a 3,
Uh-huh.
just because I'm the nice one. I want to.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
You're the
play
big-
that angle.
Yeah. Okay, so final verdict. That was out of 2, out of 3. Well, there you have it. I'd like to thank Steve for coming in today.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
having me on. No, it's been fun. It's been good.
Excellent.
I hope you all enjoyed it. If you've missed an episode, don't worry. You can catch us on YouTube or like us on Facebook page. We hope you enjoyed the show and stay with us for the next 3 weeks of Showreel. Don't forget to watch LNS Late Night Show and QTV. See you next time.